we're going to explore this idea of our creative mind. And we're going to take it another step. Because we have a creative mind. But why is it we're not always creating what we want? And the idea is because there are blocks. And so we're going to talk today, how do we eliminate those blocks that allow us from tapping into the creative power that we are and demonstrating that in every aspect of our life? So in order to do that, let's talk about what religious science is. Religious science is the culmination of all of the truths of all of spirituality, philosophy, and science brought together in a practical way that we can demonstrate, use that in our lives. So the leap of faith that we make every time we talk about religion, every time we talk about spirituality, every time we talk about philosophy, there's one leap of faith. And that leap of faith is that there's something that is infinite, that is all-knowing, that is creating out of itself in each and every moment of every day, that is so powerful that nothing can get in its way because it has created this cosmos. Now think about the cosmos for a second. Think of trillions of galaxies, trillions of stars within galaxies, trillions of planets within each galaxy, and that is just the pinhead of a description that cannot even be given of the divine. So take an idea of what is this body temple in which each of us has to express and to experience. Do you realize that in this body are trillions and trillions and trillions of cells? This body temple is a solar system of individual consciousness that is the consciousness that we are, because think about this, if God is all there is, then our consciousness is the consciousness of God. And the beauty of it is it's individualized as us. So the consciousness that I am is the individual use of the power, individual use of the mind of God. And as I use it, I create my experience. So the leap of faith is knowing God is all there is. After that, we get to create our lives. We get to make it up, and we make it up with our thoughts. And the beauty of it is that we can erase the canvas of our lives at any moment and recreate a new canvas by simply shifting our thought. So let's talk about the creative process real quickly. We've gone through this over the last 3 weeks. But the creative process begins with curiosity. It moves to inspiration. It is followed by decision. And decision is followed by directed thinking and actions. So we're clear on that. So we understand curiosity, the desire to be more. There's something within each of us that is always seeking to be more. Because the second we get something in our dreams fulfilled, we turn and we create a new dream, don't we? All the time. It's always about something new. So the curiosity is always looking out there. So there's this whole world of infinite possibilities. Quantum physics describes it as there's always infinite possibilities everywhere present, all at the same time. And as consciousness focuses on it, it collapses it, which means it makes it an expression. So we as the individualizations have this infinite possibility. So right now, as I look at all of you, you are the consciousness that is everywhere present, and I've collapsed you into my experience right now. Did you realize that you are players in my dream? Here's the interesting thing. Everyone else here is a player in your dream. And you get to create what does that look like by what vibration are you putting out? What are the thought processes that you are putting out? Are you putting out thought processes of a community that is loving? Are you putting thought processes out that I am enough? That I am more than enough, that I deserve to be loved, I deserve to be seen, I deserve to be happy. And as you put that out, then everyone here will feel that, know that, because there's only one mind. It's in the mind of God. And if it's known in one part of the mind of God, it's known in all parts of the mind of God. Being known there, it must come to fruition. But the key thing is that the creative process that is always working will take us to the end result unless we interrupt it. You see, what we don't realize is that the creative process, the idea that we've decided on, is like a seed. And when we plant the seed, we plant that seed in fertile soil. And when we plant it in fertile soil, we water it, we give it nurturing, we let it be because we know there's a time for that seed to grow. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days later, a shoot starts to come up. And if we allow and we keep fertilizing that seed and we keep watering that seed grows higher and higher and higher and higher, and then it becomes the type of plant that we created. You see, we can't grow potatoes when we plant carrots. We can't grow roses if we plant daffodils. It's the same thing with our mind. As we take our creative mind and we plant a seed, it can only grow what's been planted and what's been nourished. But what happens as we go through our personal creative process, we want to see is the seed grown, so we'll take a shovel and we'll dig it up. Is it even almost to the surface? And that becomes the roadblock. And that roadblock is when we question our desire. It's when we doubt our desire. We doubt that it's possible, or we allow fear to come into our life and say it can't be that way because it's not demonstrating everywhere. You see, the greatest gift that we don't realize is that our oneness with God puts us in a place where we don't have to experience anything other than what we want. But the second we step out of that oneness, the second we step out of that identity of one God, one power, one presence, and we are it, we open ourselves up to the whims of the masses, the whims of all the consciousness that is out there. The most wonderful example of that is Steve Jobs. In his biography, Steve Jobs makes it very clear that he only allowed people that were like him, that would support his vision, to be in his inner circle, and there was almost nobody there. Because he was thinking and creating on a leading edge that only he saw. So he was very guarded about allowing any other thoughts, any other vibrations, any other feelings, any other criticisms to enter his world so he could create what he deemed the perfect instruments that he came here to create in the field of electronics and communication. That is the beauty of it. Every time we doubt, we question, we fear, we dig up that creative seed. And so what happens there? The greatest stumbling block, and the reason we do that, is because we have been inundated from the time that we came into this planet to believe that there's a God outside of ourselves. That there's a God, power, and presence, and we pray to that power, and if we're good and it has mercy, we will have a demonstration of some sort. It will be bestowed upon us. Well, the truth of that is, in that belief alone, we are now victims. We are now powerless. We are at the mercy of something outside of itself. What we have done is we've bought into the idea of a God created by man. Did you hear that? A God created by man. And if you look at it real closely, man was created by God. So men and women are a reflection of God. God is not a reflection of men and women. So if God is infinite, all-knowing, everywhere present, always has been, always will be, all-powerful, constantly creating and recreating out of itself in every moment, man and woman are constantly creating out of themselves in each and every moment with no limitation. They are all powerful for their experience. Does that make sense? Do you see how we have put a block in the creative process by buying into a belief that was created thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago that was perpetuated because word of mouth spreads? And it becomes true. But it really isn't true. There's only one truth. God is all there is, and we are one with it. That's the truth. And we get to create our lives any way we want. So I love the idea of the Texas Rangers and the St. Louis Cardinals. Because if you go back to September, St. Louis Cardinals were 10 games back from being a team that could be in the playoffs. They were 10 games behind the closest wild card team. But they had a belief. They had a belief that they could go and get into the playoffs. And slowly but surely, they believed in miracles. And then they got into the World Series, and they got into Game 6. And in Game 6, 1 out away from Dallas becoming, the Texas Rangers becoming the world champions, they still believed in what happened. They got it. They got that one hit, that one run that allowed them to win. And then they came into Game 7, and what was their belief? Everything going back from September was that they were going to do it. They believed it with the fullness of everything that they are. There was a collective belief of everyone on that team to believe it. Now, if you read the media, and everyone had to read or hear the media, there was a belief that, oh my God, in Game 6, Texas was 1 out away. My God, they were 1 out away, and that kept permeating. Do you think that consciousness wasn't in that ballpark? Do you think that consciousness wasn't with every ball player on the Texas Ranger team? So when the two consciousnesses came together, the one that had the least blocks to the desire became the manifestation, and St. Louis won. Isn't that a fascinating demonstration of a collective power? It's not that there's good and evil, but it's a collective power, and based on belief. The thing that I want you to go to is that we create mental images in our mind. And we can create mental images that are very pleasurable, or we can create mental images that cause fear. When we create this idea of what is pleasurable, that is in alignment with our dreams. That is in alignment with what we want. Because if you think about it, if there's something you're dreaming about, are you dreaming about it because it's going to feel bad? It's going to be painful? Chances are, if you're dreaming about it, it's something so great, so grand that you've tapped into it and you want it in your life. So if you're thinking of something you want, then there should be pleasure associated with it. So the feeling of having a dream come true is a feeling of pleasure. So how many people have a job? Everybody pretty much have a job of some sort. You're doing something for money. You're doing something you're creating in some form or fashion. You're raising your hand, aren't you, Liz? Liz just demonstrated her perfect job this last week, and she was so excited. The email I got just bounced out of the computer because she says, this stuff works. And so I want you to know that these type of demonstrations are happening with every member. Tana sent me an email from her iPad yesterday about, she says, oh my God, I sat down and I thought about something that you and I were talking about, something we prayed about. She says, oh my God, the demonstration's here. I just had to realize it. This is happening with everyone. But the idea is become aware that it's happening. And to be aware, be in a state of joy. Be in a state of pleasure. Be in a state of positive expectancy. I read today, this was a quote that came from Abraham today. Every person with whom you interact is a part of the person you are becoming. Let's take that and make it even deeper. Every thought you have today is a part of the person you are becoming. Everything you do today is a part of the person you are becoming. Every single movement you make, every thought that you have, every person you come in contact with, and how you respond, how you react, how you think, how you do anything is a part of what you are becoming. The only thing that can block that is stop being that person. Stop listening to anything that is not in alignment with the person you desire to be and the person you desire to experience. And the beauty of that, as you become that energy, because that's all we are. Do we agree on that? That all we are is energy? And it is consciousness that's taken this energy, that's created this body, that's created this form that we live in. And the energy that you are has a vibration, because energy has vibration, does it not? So if we are an energy and we are a vibration and we're putting out that and we have this dream and we are living that dream and the energy we're putting out is in alignment with that, nothing can come into our lives that is not a match. Even people who are not a match, the part that they will play in our lives, the only part that will play is that energetic vibrational match that is similar to us or that we are similar to them. So the question I would ask is that if someone is coming into your world and you're not having a good experience, I would say go within and shift your own energy. It is not about the other person. It's about what is the energy within me that is allowing that expression to be experienced and felt in my life. Because I know, and I've tested this, as I love, love must come back. I know that when I walk up to Deborah and Deborah gives me the love, that she is magnificent in giving, I can only give love back. You see, that's the vibration. It's the give and take. Become what you want to be. Become what you want to see. Doubt of all kinds must be eliminated. Does that make sense? So let's follow that idea. Doubt and fear must be eliminated. If you are one with God, and God is the only power in the world, and God is all-powerful, is there any reason to doubt what you're going to demonstrate? No. So is there any reason to fear if God is all there is? Is there any reason to possibly fear? No. Those are the boogeymen that we've created in our minds that we're going to celebrate tomorrow night on Halloween. They don't exist. They're fictitious. Zombies are fictitious. Fear is fictitious. Vampires are fictitious. And so is doubt. So just know that. Uwe is fictitious. Becky is love. So we'll go there. And the idea is, you notice how I made that distinction? That distinction is not true. Because as much love as Becky is, Uwe is exactly as much love. Because there's no individual that is not love. There is no individual that is not perfect. There is no individual that is not the divine expression. There's no individual that is not all-powerful, all-knowing, and can create anything in any moment. So no matter what we see on the outside, when we walk out of this beautiful sanctuary, when we walk out into the world, no matter what we see, there's a perfect expression of God. It may be demonstrating differently than we might care to see, but if our eyes are focused in a particular way, we will not see anything other than that which is like us. So I come back to my coined words about religious science, and that is to demonstrate, to eliminate blocks, we focus on only what we want. Period. Everything we do, we focus on only what we want. So let's take this and look at it from spiritual practices. Because we talk about that we believe in a practical spirituality. We believe in a positive practical spirituality. So yes, there's this idea of the infinite that we cannot even begin to understand, but we can feel it because we've experienced it at some form in our life. So how can we have that experience even more? Because that's all we're ever seeking. That's what we want, and that's why we're eliminating the blocks so that we can have the divine experience. So we go to the idea of meditation. And meditation simply allows us to slow our mind and to get into the breath and eliminate all of the thoughts so that our mind is clear. Then through spiritual mind treatment, or what is referred to as affirmative prayer at times, is the idea we're directing our thought only in the alignment of our dreams. See, with these two ideas hand in hand, meditation and prayer, meditation and spiritual mind treatment, they are the pillars of spiritual practice. You could say that saying things you're grateful for is a prayer. You can imagine that which you desire. That's a prayer. You can be grateful. You can be positive expectation. Those are prayers. You can be joyful. That's a prayer. The interesting thing is, and I've done this, is I've gone into meditation now. No matter if it's guided or if it's silent, I put a little smile on my face. Because if I'm going into the allness, wouldn't it feel good? And I played with that, and I've come to the understanding for me that when I put that smile on, it's easier for me to release. It's easier for me to connect. But let's say that we're in a place where we've got a lot of blocks that are affecting our demonstration. And we've tried meditation and our mind can't get there because there's so much going on. We've tried prayer, and yet after we've done the prayer, we still feel that doubt. We feel some fear. I'm going to simply give you this one practical approach, and that is focus on anything but the problem or the idea causing fear. Take your mind off of that which is creating that. Does that make sense? Put it on anything that gives you joy. If that means playing a video game and your mind gets off of it, great. If that means listening to a certain type of music, that's great. If that means going to a movie and joyfully laughing, if that means going to a bar or something where there's people that you can be with and laugh and take your mind off of it, and you're consciously doing that, great. Anything that brings you to a place of being at pleasure, being into a place of joy. But I would advise you, I would recommend to you, because I've tested this. Meditation first, prayer second, and then if you need to focus outside, focus on anything but what is on your mind causing you to fear or doubt.